Hello everybody, welcome back to Ryan's Guitar Shop. Today I thought I'd do a little app review or preview or show, whatever you want to call it, of the app that I use to create my backing tracks. I use this primarily for class. I don't really use it too much in my personal, but every once in a while I have the songs, so sometimes when I go out and play, I do have them available for myself as well. But this is a really useful tool instead of just using a boring old metronome in class. I found a long time ago that kids really enjoy playing with backing tracks, and it makes class a lot more exciting to play and more fun for them. And I found it really gives them as close as I can to a real life experience with playing with other instruments without having to obviously drag in other instruments. So this has been very useful. Now, I used to use Band in the Box for years and years and years, but it kept getting outdated, and it's very costly, very expensive, and it's kind of hard to use. I was probably only using a very small portion of all the features that it had, but it was very useful. It obviously sounded great, but it was mostly just very expensive. So a year or two when mine kind of got outdated on my PC, decided to see if there was other options available, and surprisingly there wasn't a lot available for the iPad, and that's really kind of what I was hoping for too, is more of a portable one too, so that if I did need it on different gigs and take it portable, I need the portability. So it is available on the iPad and the iPhone at this point. I will double check and put in the comments below if it's available for the Google Play. I just never deal much with them, so I haven't really checked, to be honest, but I'll check that before I'm done here. So this is called iReal Pro. It's definitely not as robust as the Band in the Box, but for the cost that it is, it's been doing quite well. It is a free download. You do get some basic jazz tracks for free. They really focus on the jazz part of this because it's kind of a lead sheet. But I did purchase the blues pack for $5, so I've put $5 into that. There is also a salsa pack for another $5. I don't play much of that style of music. There's enough Latin and stuff in the jazz that the few times that I do need it, I've been able to use those tracks from there. So this is an example of a song that has been fully created and completed. You can see I've got the title, I've got the key, I've got all the measures, I've got repeats. It does have a whole bunch of extra measures, you can see, but the app doesn't really care. It knows when you're done, when all the chords are done. I've just found it's easiest to use the template that adds a whole bunch of measures in. Then I don't have to add the measures if the page is blank, which I'll show you in just a minute. It's a little harder to add. So I'm not necessarily going to use this as a tutorial to show you how to use the app. More or less, it's just here's what it is, here's what it does, and give you an idea if this is something you want to try out. It is relatively easy to use. There's some little learning curve to it. I've had to go into the help a little bit, but it's usually pretty helpful. But for the basic stuff, it works out very nicely and very easily. So you can see here, well, actually, let's go over here to library. You can see I've got 47 songs, some different styles, some things that I've viewed. It does have the option to turn iCloud sync on, so I can sync this with my iPhone and it will go back and forth. There's some other defaults you can do. You can back this up. It says restore exercise songs. I deleted all the exercise songs. It comes with like 120 exercise songs. I just deleted those off so they weren't in the way. So I've got some of those settings there. So you can see the extra styles. I've already purchased the blues. There's the salsa. I don't really think I need to purchase that. So I got a whole bunch of different songs. You can see most of these relate to songs that we were doing in class. I pretty much try and make a backing track for almost every song we do in class and going from there. So let me just show you real quick how easy it kind of is to create a new song. I just hit the plus button. So I get the new song. I can name the composer. I can already choose the style. If I know right off the bat, usually I don't know what I want, so I just go that. I can choose the key. I found that doesn't really change too much as far as like I can enter in whatever chords I want, so it doesn't like restrict the chords, so I usually just leave that. And then the only thing I really do here is it says blank. If I do the blank up the top, it's a little harder. It takes more time to enter everything in. This 32 measures AABA is kind of already set and locked in with a bunch of stuff with repeats. Your song would have to be like exact, match that exact. So I usually just do the 48 measures, and then we just go ahead and create. And you can see it bring this up, highlights everything really quickly, what I've got, so I can literally just type in F, I've got the F chord. I touch the next measure, type in a G, just doing random chords. I can do these at any count that I want. So if I've got, for some strange reason, I've got a whole bunch of chords on every count, I can do that. Most of the time we split these in half. It's really easy. Add the 7th chords or a minor or 7th minor, and going from there I can add a repeat. There's a repeat. I just hit the measure tool. I can hit a repeat. The only tricky part, it took me a little while to figure this out, but if you leave a measure blank, for example, if I have the E chord and I leave that blank, it will actually skip that measure. So I do have to put the little repeat symbol in here to show that it's the same chord, or just retype it. No big deal from there. It just took a little bit. And again, you can do first and second endings. Sometimes I found, honestly, it's just easier to type the chords out than trying to get too complicated. You can get into the repeats and things like that. Again, it's a little bit more complicated when you get into that, but I've just kind of left that alone. Then when I'm done, I can obviously save this. Now here I've got at the bottom, I can choose my style of music that I want. It defaults to jazz, medium, swing. I have all of these jazz ones. Sometimes I'll throw in a weird jazz one. We'll play like We Wish You a Merry Christmas in jazz, and sometimes it's nice just to mix that up. But I also have, again, a few Latin, just enough that it works if I need those. And then pop, I've got some bluegrass and some rock. Some slow rock, so shuffle, got a few things. And then under blues, these are the ones I purchased, just enough to kind of get me by. So it's not necessarily what Band in the Box had, where I had like over 300 styles and choose from, but at the same time it's maybe just easier to go. So some of the songs get a little bit samey. At the end of this tutorial here, I'll throw on some songs here, because the way I'm recording, I won't be able to get any playback from here, but they get a little samey after a while. But again, it's really low cost considering what I'm doing. I can obviously set the tempo. I can set how many times we're going to repeat the entire song. I can change the key so it can transpose. So if you're interested, you can show chord diagrams if you want. I usually don't get too involved with that. I can choose the EQ, so I can go in and I can change things a little bit, adjust the volumes as I need to, obviously play and stop from there. One of the best things about this, usually how I work it in class, is when I'm done, I will go ahead and share the audio as an AC. Yeah, it's saying my song's not complete, it won't work. But I share it to my Google Drive, and then from there I download it to my PC at home, at school, and then I play it on the stereo system that's hooked up to my PC from there. So that, and then also I can share the file with my kids on their Canvas page, their website, and the kids can then download it and use it at home as they want. The only disadvantage with that is that it's locked in. Once I've exported, it's locked in at the tempo that I've the last set at. So there has been a few times where I've tried to guess, like, okay, I think it's going to be this speed the kids can handle. We get in class and it's way too fast. So I can't really adjust it on the fly. It's much harder to hook the iPad audio up to my computer, because obviously I don't have the headphone jack anymore, and my computer just is new enough, or old enough, excuse me, that it doesn't have Bluetooth, so I would have to do something a little differently with that. So sometimes before I do that, I'll anticipate before I get to school, or if it's a newer song I haven't worked with kids, a lot of times I have 2 or 3 levels of recording. So I might record it at a slower speed, a medium speed, and a faster speed, going from there. So I can't really adjust it on the fly too easily at school, but that's a small minor complaint. Unless I hook up the iPad directly to the computer from there. But I found if I do what I've done like that it works out fairly well from there. So yeah, it works out pretty good. I'll go ahead and put some clips of some of the recordings at the end, so you get a little bit of taste of how they sound. They sound pretty good. They're not necessarily MIDI instruments. They sound pretty good for me. Maybe they are. I'm not a big, huge audiophile, so I don't know how, but they don't sound too MIDI recording to me. They work really good, and especially on a nice computer, or not nice computer, nice stereo system that I have at school to play back on. They sound pretty darn good. So yeah, there's iReal Pro, and here's some examples, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.